Today we're talking about the coddling of the American mind and why so many young people have become pretty puny in recent years and what we can do to try to rectify that problem. I'm going to tell you 3 things that the authors think that all young people need to know, and we're going to discuss some of their other theories as well. I'm John Henderson with the Conservative Book Society. Let's get to it. First, let's begin with a little anecdote from my own life. We have babysitters around my house all the time, law clerks in my law office all the time, and we're constantly around other young people in our lives. Our friends have children who are teenagers and going off to college, and we do not find that a lot of these people are overly coddled. There are a lot of parents doing a fantastic job. So just in my own personal life, I see some really high quality children out there, young people out there. And so this doesn't apply to everybody. But the authors of The Coddling of the American Mind raise a significant issue that we have over-coddled for far too long, and that we have provided ample opportunity to create a generation of young people who are not capable of navigating the world as it is. The main conclusion of their book is that young people have been overly coddled. That that microaggressions and trigger warnings and safe spaces and all this stuff all over college campuses has created this environment in which free thought and the flow of ideas has now been limited to a greater extent than it has in many, many years and maybe ever in the United States of America. So that colleges are no longer doing their job, which is to train kids how to think in various different ways, train them to go from one extreme to the other extreme and disprove each other's theories. But in fact, it's become a place where only one mindset is allowed to operate. I'm going to read you a quote by the authors because it outlines what they believe as good as anything else. Something is going badly wrong for American teenagers. As we can see in the statistics, depression, anxiety, and suicide. Something is going very wrong on many college campuses, as we can see in the growth of the call-out culture, in the rise of efforts to disinvite or shut down visiting speakers, and in the changing norms about speech, including a recent tendency to evaluate speech in terms of safety and danger. This new culture of safetyism and vindictive protectiveness is bad for students and bad for universities. That's the primary conclusion that the authors draw. And it's an enormous problem for all of us, because how are these young people who are supposed to be trained to think going to grow into functioning adults? There are 3 conclusions that the authors think that everybody needs to know. First, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It doesn't make you weaker. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Use those things, those hardships in your life, and turn them into wins. Try to figure out how iron sharpening iron is a way of life, and that it's going to make you tougher and more resilient in the future. Don't get bogged down with microaggressions and safe spaces, and be afraid to combat challenges. Challenges make you stronger. The second thing they say is don't trust your gut. Don't trust your feelings. Use science, use logic, use reason to make determinations in your life. And the third big point they need all young people to know is that the world is not divided into good and evil all the time. Everyone you meet is not either good or evil. Most people are a little bit of both or somewhere in between. Yes, you will encounter true evil in your life. Yes, you will encounter truly good people in your life. But a lot of people are somewhere in between that. And the assumption that someone is either good or evil is a really bad assumption to begin with every relationship in your life. There's some other ideas that the authors believe that everybody needs to know. Concept creep is one of those. For instance, the word violent used to be regarding physical harm. Now it's like anytime somebody says something that you disagree with, you might consider violent. So these terms, the way that the language has been changing, and this has been in the press a lot from a lot of conservative thinkers lately, but this changing of these terms is really causing a problem and making us all less happy and less safe. Another thing that they harp on is that all college professors are liberals, progressives, woke in today's world. And that's a mega problem. The authors of this book are, in fact, self-described liberals, they're Democrats, both of them are, but they are not progressives and woke and that sort of thing. But they are self-described college professor liberals. And they have a lot of ideas to share, but they see that the shutdown of conservative thinking on college campuses these days is causing an enormous problem because everybody's just living in this echo chamber. There's no bouncing off of ideas. There's no learning to think. There's an enormous, even they recognize there's an enormous contribution to be made from the conservative line of thinking. And classical liberal thought and conservatism are usually friends in on most things because they're rooted in that idea of liberty and freedom and the idea that I may disagree with what you have to say, but I will protect your right to say it to the very end. And so the big takeaway here is simple. We need to toughen up young people so that they can be more productive adults. One of the ideas that they leave you with is that prepare the child for the road ahead. Don't prepare the road for the child. You can't do that. So we have to prepare our young people to navigate the road of life. There was, when I was growing up and for many generations before that, everybody would say, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never harm you. I mean, that summarizes this book to a T. If we could get back to that, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words can never harm you. Those words, they may hurt your feelings. They may be something that you don't like, but they are not going to provide harm. They are only going to hurt your feelings. They're only going to harm you if you allow them. We need to toughen up kids, stop coddling them, and try to teach them how to be good, functioning adults. There is a path forward. This book has a lot of great ideas. You don't necessarily need to read it. Read it if you'd like. There are a few jabs at conservatives and Republican politicians throughout the book that are kind of put a bad taste in your mouth. But other than that, they've got a lot of really good ideas. Only a couple liberal college professors could have written this book. If a conservative had done it, nobody would have paid attention to it. But these guys can speak to their own, and they're the ones who are able to really have a voice to say, whoa, we've gone too far in shutting down free speech and the free exchange of ideas on college campuses. It's a good read. I recommend you read it. If you don't, you've got the basic concepts. Thanks for watching. I'm John Henderson with the Conservative Book Society.